And we are off for the first time as virtual Kentucky Derby champions. Welcome into episode 9 of Run for the Roses on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. I am Ryan, Real Digital Horseman Kramer, and he is the Chief Horse Officer, the man in the desert, Space Rothstein, and we are both Kentucky Derby champions, as I mentioned. Scott Bowser, how are we feeling?
What's up? Dude,
I'm still shocked.
Yeah, still feeling it. Been doing the press tour all week, doing all the late night talk shows, making my rounds, representing the stable on Jimmy Fallon, Jimmy Kimmel. They were very impressed with their win. No, but I mean, it's pretty awesome, man. I gotta say, so funny how many people reached out to and be like, hey, how do I get set up with this? Or like our friend Justin Decker texted me like, so what exactly did you guys win?
Let's just hop right into it. Let's just relive a little of the magic. I don't think we need to watch the race, but let me pull up this. Somehow I closed it in my haste to start the show. I am live in Las Vegas. Yeah. Not in the same room as Mr. Bowser here, but I am. What is going on right now?
I am here at the control center of my office.
Oh my God!
You are at the Circa.
There we go. We're getting there. Now we're there. Damn, Scott. I mean,
look at the difference in fleet figure to the second place there. That's pretty impressive, really. I mean, that was just an above and beyond run, especially off preference. I mean, you went in there and kind of did the history on it. It was really actually a historic run for the Kentucky Derby win on an off preference runner.
Yeah, I mean, there haven't been a ton, and then specifically, this was I could be wrong. Please tell me I'm an idiot if I am wrong. But I believe this is the fastest, and as you mentioned, newer horses are better, but fastest on a sloppy track for sure. And not just us, right? Top 2 horses, both firm horses, and Elame, I hope I'm pronouncing that right, we are seeing in the 4-year-old High Court Classic. So shout out to YSM for keeping the racing.
Yeah, a lot of these horses I'm seeing in the stud market already, like Lucky in Kentucky, especially.
Hold on, I got to scroll down further for that one.
Yeah, 18th place winner. No, but Lucky in Kentucky, amazing reveal on that horse. In right now for $32K, something like that. Like, just pretty wild.
Look at this reveal.
Yeah, that is a beast. That is a stud bred for derbies and producing derby runners. So,
but was not good enough.
Not that day.
Fateful day. And I think this highlights, we discussed it on the show, but the YSM How to Win the Derby article, the thesis, much like any GPP contest or, massive pool type situation, just being at the final stage with a shot is really most of the battle. And from there, maybe you get your roll, or in our case, maybe you have a horse that perhaps has the winning gene, perhaps the DNA of its grandparents all collected to create some sort of super horse.
Or even it's just aging and hit that peak right on the right day at the right time.
But even to see it happen on a sloppy track, now in fairness, we have not given it a lot of opportunities to run on sloppy tracks. No. But very, very impressive. But I thought this might be a good way to wrap up the tout fest, because I did see a number of people, not that they were throwing shade, but it was kind of like oh, you wouldn't have expected that, which is true because we did not expect that. But now that it has happened, Bowser, how do you back into this horse being what it turned into?
Well, I mean, just like, okay, charred Cybertruck aside, that you look at the rest of this father side of the family tree, Casino minus 110, that's well over $500,000 in career earnings right there. And Casino, as pretty much anybody in the game knows, has produced a lot of very good horses, and grandkids and whatnot. Going back to Rose of Zion and Delta over there. And then minus 110 comes from Samurai, which hey, final season of him being in the stud barn this year, so get a piece of him over here at SGPN Stables. But yeah, $1 million in career earnings there. So I mean, like there's what I notice is interesting is them are Hills, right? The one that minus 110's mom. She's like a generation two or whatever. And like one of her grandmothers, whatever, like starts off as just like an A, like a very basic A. And it's kind of wild when you break that down. Yeah, Willow. And it's kind of wild that you can kind of trace this Derby winner back to this A mare Gen Z.
And even just in general, like we know, like going back additional to see the generations here, like we know that General Duke is one of the great studs in the game.
Yeah.
Even Jimmy Squarefoot to some degree.
Shawnee
Shawnee Bear, we know that. So the idea that this horse, and I'm sure there's plenty of horses in the game like this, but the idea that this horse rolled up all these tremendous, I mean, even pulling back on Samurai, if you're not familiar, I mean, it's Scott Street and like you're basically, this is a who's who of things that you bred with in the first 25 seasons of the game.
Yeah, Morning Wood.
Oh, and by the way, let's go down to the mom side, Morning Wood, which we know the green PFP, basically a 1 of 1 in terms of strength. And yeah, so I mean, is the thesis or is the takeaway here that just because something
it froze. Shout out to everybody in the chat though. Our Derby winner will be DTF after this age 4 season. We're running him for the High Court Championship right now. So he just picked up a nice second place there yesterday. Ryan will be back here in just a minute once he gets his jamming issue unjammed. Sorry about this, everybody. But yeah, just really thanks for all the nice words about the Derby one, guys. This is insane. I mean, I always wanted to do this, right? You set a goal, but like you never think something like this, like it's gonna happen like that. Like, was not expecting it with this horse. That's the damn say. But I see Joseph asking about what we're gonna do with the prize money. Basically, I think we're pretty much gonna keep doing what we've been doing. I think our process is kind of working. We got some good stuff coming up right now too, and we're going to be more likely to be more aggressive and challenging for bigger keymakers pots and like yeah, chase the high court, chase the whatchamacallit, the grade stakes or whatever, the kingmaker stuff, like with as many horses as possible. So we got a 2-year-old right now that hadn't won its maiden yet, right? And so we decided, well, let's just be aggressive and let's fire him, like, because he looked good in 2 of his first 3 maidens. So we just said, fuck it, and fired him in a kingmaker qualifier, and he won that this morning. So I think it's more about us making more moves like that, being more aggressive when we think we see that big time heart or whatever. I think Ryan's back now.
I am.
There we go. Yeah, there he is. I filled in nicely. I was answering questions from the chat,
Sean, Scott, we often talk about how the big stables have listening devices on our stuff, and they're trying to take
big
it
time.
down.
Big time.
Kind of feel like that would just happen.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm sure you wrapped up in terms of why this horse is great.
Yeah, totally. And like one thing I mean, just notice those, if like going back to that A horse and then the A plus Lamasi on the mom side, like you just see a constant leveling up of the blood. The A plus and the S make the S, the S minus and the S make the S. On Casino, 2 S's make the S plus. The S and the S plus make the S plus, and you see that consistently happening on this. It seems like a consistent wave of momentum with a lot of these horses that all kind of came up into this horse.
And then just to kind of wrap it up too, I think, something that I would take away from this one, we think there's something in this mare because early signs and even Sapporo Dome looks like it could be a fun horse.
Yeah, 2 wins in 2 races so far for this 2-year-old. Looks pretty nice for this filly.
But
Yeah,
just in general, like we're having pretty good results so far from this lineage. And then on the flip side, I think it's probably fair to say Charged Cybertruck we did hit an outlier, more
yeah,
likely on
more
probably.
likely.
And because when you look at the rest of the stuff that we tested over basically over the course of a 2-season stretch, it's not as much success on the track. So to me, I guess that continues to layer in the idea that it's not, mares are always worth breeding. I still think you probably, if you're unless you're playing like an insane volume game where you can expect to get some outlier results, I do think you got to be a little bit more selective with the studs.
Yeah, no, I agree. And I mean, this is really like the only reason why we did this was because it was that last season of that, or the S Plus was at the cheaper price for us. So we decided to fire some stuff like this, and yeah, that worked out. Now we will fire this back this season. We will be creating a sibling for this one this season for anyone curious about that.
And people kind of, again, in the chat, I see potentially some shade being thrown. Maybe not shade, but all of these fourth places aren't going to help the stud fee. Perhaps that's why we decided to continue to race, because we feel like we can continue to make money with this horse. And maybe we will have more success on track than we ever will breeding because it is an S plus. But I think regardless, it's going to be huge for our barn, regardless of if anyone else wants to use it. And we have a horse currently qualifying for the Derby right now, sitting on, I think, 20 points, Bowser.
Yeah, and I also mentioned our 2-year-old that's also qualifying for the 2-year-old Kingmaker right now.
But the Tamale lady, who is the 2-year-old, is compatible here. So regardless of what other people think about this, to me, we know the horse is a winner. We know it clearly has heart. It just shows up in these graded races. But also, I mean, when the reveal happened,
he's talking about the age for, not like the place.
I'm sorry.
Like, so he's like, yeah, he keeps.
Oh, I misread that totally. Sorry.
Yeah,
sorry,
no,
Tristan.
yeah, I meant to correct you there, but yeah, like
it was a good
understood
conversation.
what he was saying. Yeah.
But I do think that the more that I think about it, the more that I will be surprised if this reveal is bad. We've had horses that have been great on track that haven't produced the greatest reveal, like a Dallas Sucks comes to mind, but that was having great success within its own type. This is having great success across all the horses. And so,
yeah, exactly. That was an S- competing against other S-, did very well. And a lot of that horse was 8.5 stars, 9 stars, part of it. I mean, that's like extreme preferences in the lower grades is always going to give you an edge down there, I feel. And
so as we leave the Derby, I did want to ask you one thing. What is the strangest conversation that you had in the past week with a civilian about your digital horses?
Oh God.
I'll start while you're thinking.
Okay.
I was shocked when I showed up to a youth sports event and one of the parents who has found me online, he may also be in the space, caught the Derby, and there was an entire crowd of people asking, so explain this to me. You won the Kentucky Derby? It's like, all right, there's a lot going on here. Where should I start? So yeah, explain the game to him. I was like, if any of you guys want to start playing, I explained how he scooped 5,000 American dollars, and they're like, really? Like real money? It's like, yeah, real money.
I told a couple coworkers that they knew I played the game and we do this show and stuff. And then I played a couple of them, like the clip of them winning it. And like my boss was like, dude, you won 5 bands on that shit, bro? I'm like with bets on ourselves and the prize. Yeah, that's about what it came out to. Like,
and I didn't have a chance to clip it because because I've just been busy and about to head out on a little bit of a vacation. But I have an isolated shot of Bowser reacting as he's ready to gig coming down the stretch that we'll have to check out in the next week or two, which is a great time to remind people of the schedule.
Yeah.
Not the standard schedule this season. I'll be out floating down a river in Utah for the next week. So next time we talk to you after this show will be Sunday. A Sunday show, 5 p.m. on the West Coast for week 2. There will also be the SGPN Turf Classic at the end of that one. If you have not signed up for the game yet, use the code SGPN, get your stable started, and gain access to the Turf Club. That's how you get into this race. Going forward, it's only going to be Turf Club members and people I invite from the community. And so if you haven't filled out the Turf Club application and you've done something to gain access, going forward, how do you gain access? Breed with us. Sign up with our code. Or DM with us. Maybe we'll have a different way to get in, a creative way. But once you're in, that's how you get into the SGPN Turf Classic. That will be the conclusion of the Sunday show. So we'll have a little race on deck. That will be fun. And we have been challenged by the great people at Third Time to fill this one up. We want to see 18 horses in the race. Okay. So if you're in the Turf Club and you want to get into the SGPN Turf Classic this week, hit me up. If you are not in the Discord already, that's where I post the notices. So if you want to get notified, hop into our Discord. And I think that covers it. And then so the rest of the week after that, we have the week 3 show will be standard Friday, 5 p.m. And then another Derby stream, Bowser, where for season 30 virtual Kentucky Derby at Birch Hill Downs. And hopefully we have another horse in the mix.
We might have another one running that day. Early signs are good early, at least. Because seriously, let's talk about her real quick, because it's coming out the gate this week.
I'll pull it up.
Very similar to He's Ready to Gig, where last season we ran him in one of those lower stakes qualifiers and won that right away and got that 5 points out the gate. And then so it's like, all right, well, let's try it in the graded stakes. And she came out and really looked good in that second one and won the grade 2. So now it's sitting at 21 points already. And last season we saw, it seems like 45, 50 will get you in. 55 seems like you're really safe at getting in. So already at 21 right now, just a few days into the season, you got to like that, man. It's like we still have, she's running tonight, right?
Yeah, so we're going to be running the 8 p.m. Pacific grade 2 tonight. That's 12 furlongs. And we'll also be in the 8 p.m. race on Saturday night, which is 10 furlongs. And then I think we may be trying to get into the G1. I'm not even showing you the horse. I'm sorry. Yeah. Here's the horse. I thought I had it up on the screen. So, yeah, Tamale Lady, as you see, pretty good start here. Last race was yielding. My advice to you, if you're racing horses, the yielding results can be tough. And so I don't form too many opinions off of yielding races.
Yeah,
that would be the best way to frame it. And then, yeah, just a quick pop into the bloodline of this one. Figured you might have some notes here, but we've seen Rangetti produce a number of horses in the Derby.
And Fazzoletti as well. Just the grandfather, besides Rangetti. So it's kind of like a double good stud line there.
And to me, this is the kind of Rangetti, like a juicier reveal like this, to me, is what I could see from He's Ready to Gig, maybe with more finish. Which, again, Rangetti, you would say, okay, is this the best horse? Probably not the best horse out there, but people are still studying with it because of its pedigree. And so, and then on the mom side, we were just talking about Shawnee Bear, one of our favorite Gen 2 or Gen 1s here, Hadal De Fall. I think that's how you say it, from Ted Racing, who's still in hiatus.
Yeah, the mysterious Ted. But dude, this horse is still in the stud barn and it's still producing good stuff, like Street Meat here, who didn't have that great of a thing that ran herself. But you look at that reveal, and yeah, she downrolled the Heart and Temper, but uprolled everything else. And she produced our first SS minus, Generalissimo, who's a 2-year-old this season. He's kind of shown a little bit here and there, but really, she has seemed to outkick her coverage with some of these horses that she's produced.
Yeah, and this comes from the first half unders line, which is only in our barn because D-Gen's only, and we went out and bought the sister, a Polychrome kid. But if you will look
also with Lucy's Wood and Rose with Polychrome, which was we looked at it as D-Gen's only with a better dad. And she wasn't the racer that D-Gen's only was, but she looks like she's producing some horses too.
Well, it's so this is the beginning, and so it's like our 4-year-old was not the best horse, solid, like decent reveal. Just didn't quite have the right ingredients on track. But we already just talked about Tamale Lady. You were talking about Generalissimo, who has flashed one performance so far, but overall not much there. And then
But
you
he
know
is
we
an
don't.
SS minus. I mean, that's
Yeah, exactly. So all right, let's.
excited for Oklahoma Drill. That's
Yeah, I just also excited for that name. But Scott and I
yeah,
have been naming a lot of football related names
yeah.
since we know
We had
these
a lot
horses
of.
will.
We're gonna be doing a lot of crossover football content the next few months here.
Well,
So
it's football. It's going to be football season when these horses are hitting the track.
exactly.
So,
No, so it's gonna be more fun when we have all these football names like
all right. What did you want to hop into next, guy? You want to talk quickly? Hit on to our new on Foals Day.
yeah. Because dude, speaking of SS minus, we got another one this season, dude. The rich get richer, right? And I love the name we came up with for this one, Commandant.
Yeah, so Commandant, as Scott mentioned, our second SS minus. This one comes with better preferences.
Yeah, 7 stars on this one. So like, yeah, Generalissimo was only like what 3.5, 4, or whatever.
And
Dude,
low on the
this
left,
one,
which is not good.
yeah, this one 7 stars, man. And look, Fazzoletti also in the line. This time we get Fazzoletti's blood by the way of Little Star instead of Rangetti. But you see Casino in this bloodline as well on the mom's side. I mean, on the grandmother's side. And then for us, Thug in the Sheets, which comes from Product Market Fit, Thug Lovin', which comes from Thug Passion. I mean, there's a lot of winning in this bloodline.
You know, again, this Thug in the Sheets was our first. Like this was our. We had a long deliberation, and we said, you know, one of the ways we think we can catch up is probably overpay for an S plus mare that seemed with the breed report to be decent enough. And you know, we got a little unlucky with the temper, but as we know, we're willing to look past temper as it tends to buoy a little bit more than some of the other traits. And everything else here is pretty nice. You know, it's a nice building piece. Good stars, a good base with everything else. And yeah, I mean,
And it wasn't horrible on the track. 4 wins in 27 races isn't like,
no,
it
you're
was
right.
like,
and it really hasn't produced that dominant horse yet, but most of these horses are getting looks at the podium.
Pennsylvania Gazette ran today, the 2-year-old, and looks pretty good today. I will say that. But yeah, I feel like this is going to be one of those skip a generation things in a lot of cases where some of the kids we get from these horses might end up really paying off for us.
Yes. All right. So overall, it was a heck of a roll for us. As you can see, we ended up with 14 S pluses.
Yep.
And I believe were any on the left turf side? No. So all left dirt horses here. We did pick up 2 soft, which is great for us,
and a couple zero like there that we can go either way with, which is always kind of nice when it's got the first half unders one there.
But what I love is just a lot of the stars being filled up here in the left dirt area.
Yeah.
And so, I think our worst roll on left dirt is maybe 4.5 stars this season. We saw the data also in that article. Hard to win a major if you don't have. I think the number was 5, over 5 stars. And so basically, you're shooting for that 5.5, 6 stars. And as we talk about on the show all the time, as the cup fills up and the horses get better, it becomes more and more important to have the preference. And that's why I think we're still going to see these S plus horses compete with SS minus for a number of seasons here.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you look in this last season's Derby too. We had an S horse qualify for that.
Got smoked, but it qualified.
It got in there though. So I mean, I think right now the gap between SS minus and the good S pluses, especially the ones with preference, it's not that big right now. But when you do look at a good SS minus reveal, they're starting to look really impressive. I think we're getting so close to an SS. You and I were just talking about this last week before the Derby, but
well, you know what? Let me show it on the screen. I actually found a pretty cool image here.
Oh yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, I know. Like
you know what's funny about our S pluses though? This last season, we got 7 males and 7 females right down the middle, and I thought that was because there was a streak there where we just kept getting females on the S plus side, which is good for us. But
now I don't have this updated for this season, and hold on, let me format this a little bit better. All right, this is not Scott. We'll remove this. Does not have this season's data, but it is pretty. There's a couple of things that stand out to me. One, it is pretty interesting how the S population has remained pretty static.
Yeah.
In terms of relative percentage in the game. Obviously, we see this massive bloom of S plus horses here, into season 29, where, you're talking about over 50% of the population is an S plus horse.
That's wild.
But we also see SS minus reaching that tipping point of, we think somewhere between, we'll call it somewhere between, 7 and 10%, 5 and 10%, where, at that point we should start to expect maybe we hit the next cosmetic grade. Now, when you look back in time, the first SS minus came around in season 12, and there was not a critical mass of them. Like, we're talking, they didn't even cross the 1% threshold until season 25. So first one shows up season 12. They finally are a percent of the population 10 seasons later. And so, you start doing some rudimentary math and saying, well, I've seen people on the internet say we're due for one. And I think we are. I think we're due for that outlier, but we're not due for critical mass for another year, at least 12, 15, 18 seasons. And so, just as like an encouragement to someone who you can acquire S plus horses for, decent prices, and I do believe you can still catch up. You're not going to catch up all the way, but I think you're right there. And as we've shown this past season, and even this season, like we're now competing, and we started with that S plus purchase dug in the sheets that we were just talking about.
Yeah.
In terms of our catch up strategy,
minus and an A plus, I think, and an A on left turf male, and like, okay, and like, it's funny because our first purchase ever, Mr. Lee, the A left turf soft male, he actually produced an A minus, the first A minus major winner for A minus only back when they had those.
Oh, you're right. That was
fun. So like, I mean, it's kind of funny, like when like keystone purchases throughout the history have like led to stuff, like it's.
Yeah, completely agree. All right, let's
Yeah, you want to talk a little breeding here?
Yeah, let's.
I got a couple studs I want to highlight this season that are in the barn at a reasonable rate, and I sent you the links.
Oh, well, before we do that, is there any other foal stuff you wanted to talk about before we move on?
Go down more. Let's scroll down with this. There was one I was thinking about that.
Well, I definitely have one I'd like to show. I'm only showing the S pluses.
No, it was like the out of control teen one I thought was really interesting, but also pick 3. I'm excited for this one because pick 3, as you recall, won the first SGPN Classic.
So this is SGPN Classic Bloodline with our own Black Jam, who was a, probably considered a disappointing horse. Did
it was a claimer pickup too.
Yeah, but I mean, the reveal with SS Speed was something I did not expect. I guess coming with the A plus temper, you can expect it makes sense. Yeah. But to get this in a claimer with this type of reveal is pretty amazing. I mean, I believe, you could argue it's one of our strongest studs, which got in a claimer market for I think $5 or $10.
So I mean, I was just helping friend of the show, Rich Fat Baby Ryan McKee, getting his stable set up. I might have broken his brain. I apologize. I might have gotten a little Full Metal Jacket drill sergeant on him, but got to break people down before you build them up in the stable market. No, but it's like John Taffer on Bar Rescue, but dude, no, but like it really is like I don't know. It's kind of interesting where some of this stuff comes from. And okay, the Foal of Jumbo's Clown Room. That one is one I am very excited about. Because Jumbo's Clown Room was a decent horse for us, and it's produced some weird outlier trait children with like, I think we've even got like S plus and SS minus stamina kids out of her, even though she's only S minus there. It's very bizarre. And we bred her in house with this horse Julius that I think was another claimer pickup, or no, we bred him. But yeah, I'm, you know, her bloodline starting to elevate up the ladder more from that A plus she is, I find very interesting. So
yeah, Julius is a backdoor cover kid who was our first kind of S. This was our strongest mare in our left turf side of the barn for some time. I have one that I want to show everyone.
And I think I know which one. Yeah.
It has nothing to do with.
Yeah.
Well, first of all, this is a Foal of Pleasure Dome.
Yeah,
the horse that we were just talking about.
She's a Kentucky Derby winning mare. Now, this one was interesting because we got a downrolled S minus here. So I think this could be a very good S minus horse, to be honest with you.
Yeah, you look at first of all, the coat. We don't have the black and white. There's even like a little dark brown here. We don't have this coat in the barn at all. So first of all, that's amazing because as a colt, we can make sure to make more of it.
Yeah.
And two, to your point, we at this point, Pleasure Dome is a priority breeder for us. And to have a down roll here, in our experience with these down rolls, generally leads to a pretty strong racer. And so excited for this one. It's also a purebred Gen 2.
And this Jet Fuel OG is Dallas Sucks grandfather. So it's kind of me trying to recreate Dallas Sucks line through this horse, if that makes any sense there.
No, it makes total sense.
So yeah, you see a lot of these Dallas Sucks looking horses in the bloodline here.
So good.
Yeah, no, this is one of the coolest looking horses, though, I gotta say, dude.
Oh no, I think isn't this Dallas Sucks kid or dad?
No, Jet Fuel OG is the dad.
No, Rocket Fuel OG. So Jet Fuel OG is Rocket Fuel OG's dad. So this is actually Dallas Sucks is a grandkid to Jet Fuel OG.
Yes.
So they're like, what does that make it? Pleasure Dome's the aunt or something, or the uncle. It gets very confusing. But anyway, this one's very exciting. I'm also still having fun racing down in the lower levels. So not that we're producing a ton of them, but having a couple. We actually have a decent amount of S minuses coming out.
And we've had some very good success down there in the free rolls with some of those A minus and A's over the season. So I think it's smart for us to have those that if they have the winning gene or whatever, then if it's coming from down below like that, it's constantly giving us something to kind of draft off the top end of our stable and kind of rise up with it,
Yeah, and like you said, it's just
because it sucks, dude. Because like I think we should, this season I might throw a few A minus and A's in there once the dust settles. We got 2 weeks to decide, but to your point, it's like these really good S minus horses we have, males. We should be getting stuff out there that we can kind of breed, down below that we can breed up to them with.
Start those lines.
Yep. And then get them up to our better S's and S pluses and whatnot. And then up to the S, until finally the bloodline gets so good, we want to go out of house for it.
Yeah. The other one I'm kind of excited to race too is the Foal of Jerry McGee.
With Dapper Dandy. Yeah, dude. This could be because look, he's got that SS stamina. If we upgraded the stamina in this bloodline to like SS minus and kind of got a similar role to her stuff here, this could be a very good horse.
Yeah. I mean, it's fun having a bunch of S pluses so that you don't need to hit at 50% to feel like you're having a good season.
Yeah, right.
But yeah, another SS minus. Hopefully, we can go back to back upcoming. I'm sure you got some fun plans.
Yeah, I'm still cooking up a couple things, still trying to dial some stuff in. But yeah, so far, in fact, I'd like to highlight a couple of the ones I really like for this season.
All right, who do you want to start with?
Start with the first one I sent you. Let's go in that order.
Blood Rodeo.
This is an LDS stud, and very interested in him. Like basically like if we're going on the plus minus system on the subgrades, an even SS minus, which is pretty rare. Most of them are minus subgrades.
Yeah, this is we saw it with Lucky in Kentucky, who is in the breed barn for 32K. Do we know what the price is going to be, or do you expect?
It's either 8 or 6K. Because I've through a third party tool, I've seen it listed at 6, so maybe that's what's coming up for the season. But right now it's in there at 8K. But either at 8K, I think it's a bargain, dude. Like I really do.
Well, and again, right, you're comparing it to, again, a +1. So the Lucky in Kentucky was a +1 subgrade, and this is a even subgrade. Lucky in Kentucky, slightly better preference too, and 4x the cost. We continue to harp on this, but it's non-linear to get to the tip of the spear, and if you're just doing one breed, I don't know if we can recommend that. I think, we'll hit one every once in a while, but even then it's like, to be able to get 4 of these breeds for the same price, to me, I'd rather take 4 shots. I mean, we're
Absolutely.
learning. It's like draft picks in the NFL. This is a volume game.
And I thought you'd like this one at that price. I thought this is a
So
very good.
who is this someone we're looking to
So I think we're going to go with Best Ball Mania in this one because this is an LDS and she has a pretty good star profile. She comes from Deuces Wild, the best winning LDS horse we've ever had. And if you look, her finish is his one weakness is finish, and that's where she's an SS minus at.
And then this is what the breed report came out as, which if we were having a discussion about this, my thing would be, well, this doesn't quite have the variance that we typically are looking for, but it's also a pretty tightly, like, it's a nice flattening move for the bloodline in terms of creating a base for the future. And I'm intrigued by the heart roll because that that could be the difference between this thing being a Derby qualifier and not.
Yeah.
And I will say the other thing I like about, I know you don't like this generally, but I like that I know I'm getting an S+ temper here. Like that to me, or like feel good about getting S+ temper,
No, totally. And like it's good that we get these temper bloodlines because like I said, I'm not too as concerned with that for the Derby championships and stuff like that. But I want it. That's how you make the truly great horses that are, putting up those 50% win rates and whatnot. And so like, I think that this combo is a great move for us, especially going from Dallas or Deuces Wild getting up to this now full. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, from S- to like a really strong S+, in a couple generations. And for those who aren't in the executive club and you're thinking about getting in, we haven't really talked about this on air too often, but we do have extra PFPs.
Yeah.
We could potentially, we'd be willing to help help people out, work a sweetheart deal to help you get into the turf club. But not only do you get to see the breed or the subtrait simulations, nice little, this is where you would see inbreeding too in the old days before they prevented that from being possible. But they also show you the coat possibilities, which, if you're into how the horse looks, pretty fun. But in general, this is an important. And if you're really if it's hard to read this, I know there are some third party tools where you can overlay lines to see what grade it probably is. The once you do it enough, it's like the Matrix.
But I do think this like just looking at this chart just like this, it gives you a representation that not all grades are created equal. So like an S- could be more of an A+, it could be more of an S. Like
it's a range. It's a range, right?
Definitely a range, and so always keep that in mind.
All right. So who's next?
I think it was Voodoo was the second one.
Voodoo. Nice black coat here.
Okay, now you're probably thinking, okay, this was a 4,000 stud, I believe. If I have this right.
Who are we thinking about putting this with?
I was looking at. Goddamn, I'll drop my sheet. Hold on.
It's the mad scientist.
But look, Yeah, but with that speed and that SS plus stamina, I want to inject SS plus stamina, especially and good stars too. We talk about that left dirt profile that you're looking for. Well, this one's got that, but that SS plus stamina really sets it apart. So I like this one for one of our newer ones. Fret no more tax. So,
Here, let me build this side by side for us so we can see that cool
and
view.
so yeah, look, the temper not quite there on this one. S minus that might have been his result, but dude, honestly, 2 wins in 5 seconds in the racing. You know, people talk about the winning gene and stuff, but maybe this horse had it and the owner didn't run it properly and gave up after these 12 races and should have pushed it harder. You know, it was
I
clearly doing
definitely
like claimers or something like that.
I definitely think that's a thing. I think mismanagement of the racing is a thing. I also think, like we just talked about, like the skip things do skip generations, and again, it's like this is why this is where the data comes in handy too, like experimentation. What are you looking for? And most importantly, this is why I'd rather, again, 8 of these breeds versus Lucky in Kentucky. I'll take 8 4K breeds all day and just hope for some rolls.
Yeah, no, I mean, and especially with that insane outlier stamina, and with the mom having the heart. You know,
Yeah.
if you with both horses having some decent speed, if you get the decent stamina and heart up rolls here, this could be a. I mean, look at this fucking breed report. This could be very nice for us.
Well, you see like the bloodlines clearly have some start, clearly have some finish, and clearly have some heart in there as well. So, perhaps this horse ultimately is held back by temper once
Yeah,
again,
maybe
but
speed even. You know,
you see the yeah, and that's probably the next tier for this bloodline is next time is layering in the extreme speed
yeah.
sub characteristics.
But no, I thought this was a good one. And then the third one was
I can't pronounce this. You're gonna have to pronounce this, Bowser.
Toramina. Um,
The
but
sprinter.
yeah, so this is more of a sprinter profile. I like this for Dabrig. Shout out to Japan if he's watching. Um, but yeah, I like him for Dabrig, and you'll see why when you bring it up. But look, when you get that kind of elite heart, elite speed, elite start, I'm interested. Elite finish or solid finish. But what does Dabrig have to some heart? Let's just get serious about heart with this bloodline right now. Let's stack on stack, get some good stuff up top, and then we'll work the stamina and finish in later.
Or we roll it up. That's the thing with these things. If again, this is one where you will this horse ultimately be crushed by temper, possibly, but this horse could also become an insane building piece for us, and so
Yeah, I thought with the heart and start kind of, I thought just this kind of created an insane sprinter profile shape that I was willing to take a shot at. And look at the price again.
temper. And the conversation we had with Tombstone Mike Sowers out in Vegas when we did the season 27 live stream from the win. He kind of made a comment. He's like, yeah, they show us 1,000 simulations, but what happens if you do 10,000? Where do those outliers end up? Is it possible we can still hit outside the bound? And of course it is, right? This is just a simulation and reporting on that simulation. Now, it is always interesting when there's such a tight bound. And this is where if you do some work and even just manually looking at it, and I'll bring back the bloodline here. Because if I'm guessing, we're going to look back at a bloodline that is consistently S or very close to S minus, S, very like, and not a lot of movement in the bloodlines with temper. And so maybe we get lucky, right? We see this A plus to S plus. This is our best bet here. And so, yeah, if that happens, right, we get one of those. What it's 100,000 simulations. Like we can play this game all day long. But
The
yeah,
fact that we're on the edge of like triple S minus for the start, and like double S plus, maybe even triple S minus on the heart, that's got me very interested for this.
all right. Anything else you want to talk?
But no, I
Breeding?
believe the price on this one was 4K. If you go back to him in the stud barn there, just I want to make sure.
I think it's 7K according to
7K. Okay.
the site right now. But
All right. So
as we know that with the new rules with breeding and the studs locking at 3 p.m. on 3 p.m. Pacific on Sunday, it's very I, w- you probably know better than I do, but I would imagine it's probably best to not assume the price that you see before that will be the price.
no, yeah, I've noticed there's been a lot, and sometimes they go up too. A lot of times they go down. Most of the time they go down, but sometimes they do go up. So yeah, I create the spreadsheet for our breed season that I track everything on. So yeah, there is definitely some fluctuating. I always got to do some adjusting Sunday night there after a lock. So
Sweet. What else you got? Anything else breeding you want to talk about?
well, yeah, because we've mentioned the winning gene a few times here, and we have over and over. But like, I've kind of come up with something, and maybe it's a replacement for thinking of it in terms of a gene. Maybe it's just a way to identify the gene, but I'm calling it the 4 pillars of breeding. And just to briefly go over it, basically, I think it comes down to preferences, subgrades, family performance, and then my fourth one, that might be the most important, like for he's ready to gig, is that bloodline acceleration where we constantly see it going up a level. Or the two S's are creating the S plus, the two S pluses are creating the SS minus. Because if we're going to get to triple S plus, and that's a genetic trait, you need that in your bloodlines. And I think we see that with those breed reports in some cases where these ones that have these insane ability to possibly hit like triple S on stuff, it's like, okay, well, now like there's
Like,
something
why
more
does
to
that
this.
happen?
Yeah, why is that there for this one at this SS minus versus this other SS minus or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, is there a is let's see. I feel like if we bring up one of these pleasure dome breed reports, it might be a good example. Yeah, perfect. So back to he's ready to gig,
Yeah.
and so
Like look at this breed report. You would think you're just getting a flat S pretty much with them.
but to me also this is the most attractive kind of breed report where every trait has a sizable like
Yeah.
space to jump. And I think this is why we are finding Pleasure Dome to be very interesting. And let me see if I can find another one of Pleasure Dome's breed reports. But
Well, look at Sapporo Dome, the 2-year-old we got off her right now, the
who
which
is that
is
with? Do you remember?
Samurai. Yeah,
Okay.
Samurai. Which 2-year-old won its first 2 races so far for us. I don't know if we got her registered right now, but
I'll double check while we're looking at the report.
very exciting horse here. Knowing what we know about the bloodline. Yeah, look, I mean, pretty similar. The speed's just a little better on this report, and the start has more range. Perhaps it goes down a little, but yeah. To your point, dude, Pleasure Dome might have that sauce.
Yeah, so we have Sapporo Dome running we're testing it at a slightly shorter distance here. Also, we've never had a horse win 3 straight to open a season.
Yeah. And
So
look at that, a solid 8 stars on this one, female. So, like when you look at her, is she making her compatible with our better S plus males and even now the SS minus males we have? Dude, this could be very big for the stable.
yeah, and basically, I also imagine as we build forward, we will have a lot more things that we're building to be compatible with our Derby winner. Also,
Yeah. And Roman Surprise, our 2-year-old, that's looking very good so far.
yeah. Do we want to take a look at that one?
Yeah. Let's take a look at how
And
we
then I think
go
we have a
there.
couple horses to retire.
We do.
Oh yeah, this is
This because dude,
now.
this horse. Okay, this is a great one of us learning, and maybe because of the Derby win, us being a little more aggressive than we normally would have been in the past. But it was so funny. Kramer and I both thought the same thing after its first 3 races. First one, we didn't have the right distance, but then a very strong and very in the next 2, a very strong second and third and second in maidens, and we both just went at the same time, basically like, we should just immediately go for the graded stakes like Kingmaker qualifier or whatever with it. And it came out and smashed that and won this morning. Very, very good run.
Well, and if you notice, we ran that on soft as well. So
yeah, he ran that off preference. So I mean, this
look at the
one
last
could
3
be a
races.
beast,
This
dude.
is a good point. This is a good thing to look at here. Like earlier in the show, I said yielding, I generally don't take a lot from. But if I now take the intersection of a soft, and a yielding race, and I see similar results, now I'm just wondering, like, could this be an exceptionally strong horse? We've seen some of the best horses of the past. It doesn't matter what the conditions are. And so, yeah, this one, I mean, certainly looks good. Not only bagging a Kingmaker, and this is where, like, if you want to throw shade at He's Ready to Gig, never really had the shortest morning line odds. This horse is showing up on the track and producing very short money line odds. I believe we were the second chalk to Moon Soon from Gauchos here, who, it wasn't the fastest race, but very nice for us to kind of. That's a great name. It wasn't the fastest race, but good for us to show up. And with the structure of the Kingmaker, I mean, you see the difference: 20 points for first, 4 points for fourth.
Yeah.
This used to be a win and in format. Now it's points, but it's way more skewed towards winning than the other series. And so this puts us in a position where, maybe we monitor the situation here, but gives us some freedom to also get qualified for the other free rolls.
Well, and I mean, taking out a 19,000 purse in its fourth race. I mean, that's
very nice.
That's
very,
pretty
very
nice. Getting out of the. But my biggest concern on this one, as we've talked about this in the past, is this just the kid that hit puberty first in Little League versus because when they're hitting like this young, you're like, okay, man, maybe other horses are going to catch up on the aging curve here. But no, I'm very optimistic for this horse. Like it looks fantastic.
Yeah, and I mean, again, it's like I love how many of these longer runners we're getting shown. And so, like, this is actually a situation here. If I'm going to show you a little bit behind the scenes into me selecting a race, as I look out to the next couple days, knowing that I want something probably 10 or 11 here, maybe try 12. I only see a couple spots that are compatible, and I might think that it's a good time to maybe pop into the stake side and see if we can pick up some points there.
Yeah.
Most notably, let's see. So tomorrow, 4:30. This one's in the AM.
That 1260 is interesting from what we've seen on yielding and soft so far there.
Yeah, but I also don't mind putting it into something we know and like. So it's like, and it's another series. Like, actually, let's just do it. I think the idea of qualifying for multiple series is like, that's, what, before I do this, let's take a look at when the series championship ends. And you see the Kingmaker final is on 12 furlongs. Let's see. So it's the 25th at 11 a.m. and it's a 12 furlong race. You see a nice 60K pot in the free roll. This is how you get Derby positive, for those wondering. You get your ass into the free roll. So now let's go back and look at the stakes one that we would be qualifying for, which is a 10. The final is run at 10 furlongs. And it is
what's the Kingmaker final at? 11?
12 this year.
Okay, wow.
Yeah. And this one, so this is interesting to know, right? Like 90K, it's actually a bigger pot in the unrestricted juvenile Lucky Dash. And it's a 10 furlong race. So this even furthermore answers our question about what.
And that's the 27th at 8 a.m. So we could qualify for both and run in both.
Yes. The Kingmaker's on Friday. Did they make it to the? Yeah, you can run in the Kingmaker and the Derby, so you can do all three. Like your juvenile this year. I actually take that back. But yeah, the fact that you can run in both, critical, and the fact that the unrestricted stakes is a bigger free roll. Even though it's not graded qualifiers, very interesting.
Yeah.
That's not what we wanted to do.
But yeah. No, I like this approach because if we can score a win here now, we're looking fantastic on 2 leaderboards. I
don't want to break. I forgot I'm in Las Vegas. Can't break any rules. All right. We'll register this when I'm back into the sweet state of California. All right. What else do we want? What else did we want? Oh, retire some horses.
Yeah. Yeah, a
Then I
couple
think
4-year-olds that we're gonna retire, and
I think we're out of here.
Yeah,
Let's see.
gonna go make some T-bones, dude.
You're going to do that. I am going to go. I believe I'm going to go down. I'm over at the Circa in beautiful Las Vegas, and I'm going to, I think, hit Stadium Swim with the man in the box.
You know, what are you guys doing after that? Because after I eat my T-bone, I might meet up with you guys.
I don't know. I honestly don't know what we have planned. My plans are not to go anywhere. So I'll be at the Circa, Stadium Swim, Legacy Club, gambling. Had a nice run at the craps table last night. So everything's on the table. All right. So I have I think I have our 4-year-olds up here. All right. So the first one that I propose that we retire is Waiting for a Cure.
Let's drop the hammer.
It's a Brady Hoke kid who, if you're not familiar, Brady Hoke, great college football coach who didn't like to wear a headset, with one with a bullet, Sarah Winchester kid.
Yeah, was kind of looking for an outlier stamina rule here with both parents having the S plus there. Brady Hoke is a +2 on the subgrade score.
Yeah,
so.
it's a very nice stud for us, and it was decent on the track too. We probably haven't. In fact, let's look at the sample of Brady Hoke real quick. I don't think we have a huge sample. That's big enough. Haven't had a ton of success with the running out of pocket. Another one we're going to talk about in a second, and a ring for a queen. We have not had a ton of success.
Ring for a queen though did give us the stamina boost, so
yeah,
we have seen him do some stamina up rolls for us. So
all right, so
that's
retire.
why I'm interested here. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Again,
it's a +1. A +1 with that star profile, I'll take all day. Yeah, 7 stars, +1 at the S, female. She could definitely breed into some of our better stuff at the top. Absolutely.
Yeah, and as our barn builds out too, another thing in Turf Club, like, hit us up. You're looking for a womb, that. Yeah, we're not going to breed everything,
Yeah, I just sent Rich Fat Baby a mare today that he can start breeding right away with his stable.
Nice. So. All right, so another Brady Hoke kid. So we're collecting some data here. Again, I'm guessing we're going to see a similar reveal if I had to guess.
Yeah, I really like the stars again here. 8 stars. It's good to see Brady Hoke putting out horses with the better, more like the mom side of the star roll. So that's encouraging.
I will say his kids tend to up roll, or it feels like we're not getting bad star rolls with his kids.
Yeah,
small sample size. All right, let's see what we got here.
It's a male. So whoa. And we didn't get that stamina we're looking for, but goddamn, we got the speed. And so
0 the hard way, as we like to say, Bowser. It's a 0 subgrade, but it's got some attractive ones and some less attractive ones. This is an interesting one, though, but certainly less interesting than, well, it's both less and more interesting. The SS minus speed is always interesting.
Yeah. Like with the right A+ stuff, that's interesting to breed with, I think. Because if you can get that high end speed into maybe an S minus horse, that could really possibly punch above its weight class and allowances and whatnot.
But also, if we're being honest, this is the kind of horse that, we aren't necessarily going to stud internally a ton with. So
no.
If you're interested, maybe you're looking for a bulk deal. Maybe we can work out if you're in the Turf Club, maybe we can work out a loaner. Again, hit us up. We're deal makers. Bowser's been at the Mahogany all weekend.
It's true. It's true. I've been using this holiday to put in some work while people got their guard down,
huh? Last one. Hello, Clarice, which is a Buffalo Jill, an Italian sports car child.
So once again, this one I was kind of going for the up rolling speed or stamina finish heart with these. These are some of our better S minuses with those kind of traits in that range. And I'm trying to. I feel like this is a horse that we can breed up into better, much better S+ stuff.
Not the worst horse, but the results were more about weaker fields than they were about this horse being great. So this will be surprising if we hit a big one here. This is about as bad as a reveal could go.
Yeah.
A -4 I can't remember seeing too many -4s.
It's a oh yeah, you're right. Ugh. Ugh.
Yeah. Send this one to the glue factory.
Yeah. If someone wants to buy it off us for what? Just sitting here talking all kinds of shit. Hey, but anybody want to buy it?
It's a Gen 2. That's the we can expect that if you ran some breed reports with this one, I bet you we see some outlier.
Yeah. And that's why I did it. There was some outlier and stamina and whatnot on it. And I felt that look, we're seeing stamina can really play. A lot of people are focused on sprinters, gallops, and just stamina can win you stuff. And hey, that's where the Derby is.
I want to let's take one quick look at something because I think it might be fun to who do we just retire? Winning.
Ring for a queen.
No, winning. Cure.
Yeah, cure for
waiting for
a cure.
Too many horses. All right, so let me pull up the bloodline so I can also bring up the breed report.
And you see our gal in this bloodline, Brady Hoke's mom, our gal, the first real horse we kind of had in a way.
All right, so you have an S+, S+, S+. So you have a plus. What is this? A +2 stud, and one with a bullet who also has a pretty nice profile for an S-. It's a +3, right? So this is we should expect an interesting breed here. This is what the report showed us that we could get. Again, very nice ceilings across the board. And so to see the report and then to flip back to what we got, it's like, okay, we kind of got what the report was going to say. Like, this feels like we got an uproll again, showing we got an uproll on finish. You can see it in the breed report. We got stamina where it said it was going to be, and then everything else rolled out where it said it was going to be. Yep. So in some ways, I could argue that this horse was exactly what you would expect, but there was not much outlier quality to it. And so, and the other horses we just retired, they showed a little bit of outlier, but both ways, up and down. And so I'll be curious to now see what this horse can produce breed report.
Yeah, this is one we'll probably want to breed with. Maybe not this season, but next season or something. We find the right match for it. There's a horse like this. If it's a match for one of our higher end S pluses, that's a nice little way to get them. Keep the family bloodlines going.
All right, Bowser. I'm in Vegas. I got stuff to do. We've had a solid start to the season. I hope everyone else is having a good start to their season 30. I will say again, the feedback, like the racing structures and qualifying, I think except the last couple of seasons have been very good. Some of it is that we're able to be in more of the qualifying too to really notice it, but I think the structure, it really works. I find that it's not hard to race the good horses frequently. I think with the lower grades, even, we're seeing a lot more volume. So it's very easy to get horses in races. I mean, we're towards the end of week 1, and it's very easy to fire. Races are filling. I mean, we've only had, I don't think we've had a single race not fill, actually. Including low grade maiden. So great time to get in the game. Like we've been saying, use our code SGPN, sportsgamblingpodcast.com/turf club, and get in the game and let us know once you're in, and more than happy to get you set up with some horses.
I got one thing to say that I forgot about. For 2 weeks straight, before the Derby and stuff, we were telling everyone to breed with Charred Cybertruck. The dad that produced, he's ready to gig, right? The Kentucky Derby winner. We were touting him as the stud of this, that we got in there cheap, and not one of you bred with them. And the shame on you. You should all feel shame. He's back. He's still back in there at the minimum. I strongly recommend taking a tap at a sire who's now producing Kentucky Derby winner.
It's pretty simple formula that once someone creates something that wins the Derby, I think it's possible. And so, this reminds me a little bit when my co-host on the Sports Gambling Podcast gave out a $200,000 DFS lineup and not one person duped him. That's how little respect they had for his game. So, yeah, you guys obviously have no respect for our game. And yeah,
that's a very good analogy of Sean's win there.
and I will I think it's only fitting that to close the show this week, we will.
No, Joseph Myers, you're right. Cybertruck's value should go up by the virtue of that win. But you know what? We're good guys. We're keeping it in there at the same price.
Yeah, I mean, I would say over under 1.5 stud covers that aren't ours this season.
I'm going to say under. I'm sitting here shaming everybody, and I think I'm going to be shaming everybody again next season.
I don't think people respect our horses. I don't think they respect us. I don't think. And I know we put new goals
going forward. We need that chip on the shoulder. We can't get complacent after a big win. I like that attitude.
Well, we were talking about this. We're going to need new goals now. I don't think we need any new goals. The chip's still there because the amount of disrespect that I've seen out there for our horse, the amount of bait and switch about should we retire, should we not? We made the right decision.
Yeah. Also, the people saying we should sell him were just absolutely batshit crazy.
Yeah, this horse is going to have a valuable 4-year-old season. Who knows? Maybe it's still running in the High Court Classic at 5. But when it does hit the barn, and one thing I will say about, and let me bring him up one more time, but one thing I'll say about our guy, he's ready to gig. This was the first, I think it was the first or second season of the breeding age where you can't breed all the way to 25. We did catch a bad roll with him only being able to breed at 18, but don't let that scare you. By the time he's 18, I'm guessing we're going to have
so many good. His grandkids are going to be so good by then.
Exactly. So, and yeah, and
that's another thing too. Is just basically, I like to think of it a lot of times of blood over stud. Or if you really like the casino blood, or he's ready to gig blood now, or whatever, you might not have to go directly to the source. Sometimes you can go to one of their kids.
Yeah, you say that a lot. Like go to their kids for cheaper in some cases. The blood's still in there, right? It might be watered down with whatever the mare was, but
yeah.
But I think it's only fitting that we take the show out this week with a replay of the Kentucky Derby. I'm just gonna let this. We want to get the horns. We want the full experience.
Just when I saw that sunshine, man, it just felt right. I gotta say, all right.
I agree with you. It was the sun combined with the good start.
Yep. And then right around here, I'm like, okay, this is about where we want him at this point in the race. Like,
it's one of those things. Watching all the races, you realize that there's just a certain style of race that it runs when it's going to have a good race, and there's like checkpoints along the way, and it's like, okay, did it start well? Because that's you. It's not necessarily means it's going to win, but
Tamale Lady so far is starting to look like the exact opposite. Where if she's kind of hanging back in the beginning, she's got that serious late close, and so I'm not worried about her being out of it early. I'll say that, but it could just be the sign of a very good horse.
Yeah, and I think for he's ready to gig, it was more about when he's up near the front, he's in the race, and this is the second checkpoint right here where we get into that 5 to 7 furlong range where it's like, okay, this is normally where he drops back, where he sinks back. If he's going to have a bad trait, I predict it potentially is stamina.
Yeah,
that middle or speed, that middle range is where when he falls back, this is where he falls back. But when he started pushing, it was like, oh no, I don't want to be in the front the whole time.
There's like right around here, I'm like, oh god, like he's normally not charging like this right here, like
not yet, yeah.
No, but then get around this turn here, and man, like. Shout out to our jockey, Herbie Villaches III, who really ran a hell of a race here, getting him from the 6th spot into the rail pretty quickly there. But then down the stretch here, I was thinking this horse on the outside. I'm like, Oh God, they're gonna come in fucking ass blast this year.
Well, the 13 Elamy is a great horse from YSM. I was with you. I thought 100% we were getting walked down here, but then he fought back again.
Then he fought. Yeah, he showed an extra burst here, which is crazy because he closes down the final stretch big time. He ends up winning that by what, 2.5, 3 lengths or so. Like,
dominant performance.
Very dominant.
What a day.
Amazing.
Well, yeah, thanks for reliving with us. Happy 4th of July.
Happy 4th, everybody. Even to our racing friends across the pond.
So here's the list of things to do. If you're not in the game, sign up with code SGPN. Hit us up about the Turf Club, and we will help you get started in your stable. Again, code SGPN, sportsgamblingpodcast.com/turf club.
I was on a Google meeting setting up a stable before we started the show today.
Love that. Love that. Using
Joseph Myers, the jockeys cannot help a performance. That's a running joke I have where I give our jockeys random names and make it seem like they can. So I don't want to mislead anyone.
What was I saying before Bowser rudely interrupted me?
Sorry.
Oh yeah, get in the game, use the code SGPN, get in the Turf Club, get in the Discord, like get in these places. I'm not gonna like DM everyone anymore. So if you fill out the form, get in the Discord, and like I said, if you're in Turf Club, you're gonna get an invite to the free rolls.
Yeah.
We'll see you next week on Sunday, special time, 5 p.m. Pacific on Sunday. Congratulations to everyone with New Foals Day.
Which next Sunday is really going to be really cool. Thinking about it now, because we're going to have a really better look than we normally would for the week 2 show on Derby qualifiers and whatnot. So that's going to be
true. It's true, and we'll have a look ahead to that Grade 1.
Yeah.
And lastly, again, happy 4th of July. If you're out in Vegas, hit me up. I'll be gambling at the circuit tonight. If maybe I'll see Bowser, maybe not. We'll see. I do have an early drive across the border to Utah tomorrow, so we'll see how crazy I get. Last night was the crazy night. I took some performance enhancing materials that
I got a couple cigars here. I know the man in the box enjoys a cigar. Maybe I have to come down and have a victory cigar for this Derby win with you guys.
Okay. Well, one way or another. If not, everyone have a great week 2 in season 30. Hit us up if you want to do any sort of breeding deals, womb swaps, whatever. Like I said, Bowser is banging the mahogany. And hell of a season 29. Still can't believe we won the Derby, Bowser.
We have a nice bet on ourselves too.
I know, it's beautiful. All right, guys. We'll be back, like I said, Sunday at 5 p.m. Pacific. Until then, he is the chief horse officer, the man in the desert, Space Rothstein, Mr. Scott Bowser, and I'm Ryan Rimmoney Kramer. Let it ride.